Okay, no matter how this war is going, it's clear that the U.S. and Israel are going to run out of interceptor missiles, and they're going to be absolutely defenseless. Tel Aviv is going to be defenseless. All sorts of sites in Israel will be defenseless. There are rumors that Netanyahu's house has been hit. I don't know if those are true, but we know the Mossad members have been killed, and we know that Iran has accurate missiles. So the problem that Europe and America are facing now is that they're blind. They're blind in that their what you call it surveillance and their radar has been destroyed. $1 billion worth of big radars have been destroyed so that they're blind and they can't see where the missiles are coming from. And on top of that, the method that Iran is using, where they start off with what do you call those things again? Drones, cheap drones, and cheap missiles to saturate and draw the interceptors out. Is working to great effect, and Iran has enough missiles to continue this war for 6 months. Whereas, given the rate of attrition now, the U.S. and Israel have about no more than 4 or 5 weeks before all of their interceptors run out, and they're going to be totally not only blind, not only knowing where the missiles are coming from, but also not having any missiles to shoot them down. And this is due to the fact that right now, according to guys like Postal, who's the number one um, scholar on nuclear missile on missile warfare from MIT, says there's a 1 to 10 ratio, which means that for every Iranian missile that's coming in, 10 interceptors are having to be used to take it down. And even they don't take it down even after that. America claims that 90% of they take down 90%. Even if they're taking down 90%, it means they're using 900 missiles to 90 missiles. But Postal says the number is much lower than that, maybe even 30%. But the idea is that regardless of how many they're taking down, they're wasting 10 missiles to one. And now let's look at the cost. One Iranian missile, I think it costs about $20,000. That interceptor is 12.6 million. Arrow is 3.5 million. Um, Patriot is 4 million. Okay, they say the Iranian, so an Iranian missile is $50,000. And a lot of the missiles that are being used to try to take them down are arrows. So if one arrow is 3.5 million, 3.5 times 10, they're shooting $35 million at least to take down one Iranian missile. And lately, the accuracy rate has dropped radically because Iran has brought something new, which they probably learned from their brothers in Russia, which is the decoy. So each missile that comes in now for Iran uh, fractures into debris. It's not really debris because this is intentional fracturing. These little debris or sprays are actually decoys, and the THAAD missile or the missile system that the U.S. used to intercept doesn't know which one is the actual missile because of the debris. So as the missile is falling to the earth, it breaks out into smaller parts, and each of these parts also has the signature of the original part, so that the sensors don't know which one is the actual missile, and it causes chaos. And that's leading them to basically a lot of the time now they're wasting all 10 of their missiles. So every time they're wasting $350 million, they don't intercept the missile. And then the missile damages very important structures. So, for example, they destroyed the $1 billion satellite in in the UAE. So this is an unbelievable attrition, a loss of money for the West. And once again, we see Putin's signature in this. This is the warfare that Russia mastered through trial and error against Ukraine, and now Iran is using it well. And it also goes to show you that Iran has thought about this war a long time ago. They're not reacting to an attack by America. They knew it was coming, and this has to have been 10 to 15 years in planning. So America and Israel are in trouble because even though they have overwhelming might, they have airplanes, they have bombers, they have all these missiles, they didn't strategize this war, and they're actually running out of weaponry. And also, the weaponry that they have, that $1 trillion dome doesn't work, even if it doesn't work. So that money went to waste, and they also have bombers and carrier ships, which are obsolete. So they don't even have weapons made for the modern day warfare. And all they have, the only thing that America and Israel now have, is nuclear weapons, and to use that will be to end the world. So they don't really have options. All they can do is really fly their planes over Iran and bomb sites. And at some point, um, Iran is going to start targeting these airplanes because they come deep into Iran. They have sophisticated missiles which can take those down, and the U.S. doesn't have interceptor missiles. So the longer this war goes in, the deeper America falls into a dirty trap, just like Vietnam. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think America and I dare say Israel are already in a very treacherous bind as we speak, because the Iranians have carefully rehearsed the response to this attack. I mean, it's been close to 40 years that they've been rehearsing this, and everything is well choreographed. They know that might for might, they can't stand the US and Israel. So they've come up with a very clever, asymmetric approach to it, and it's skewed very much in the favor of Iran. You can see the way they are doing it. And the example you just gave of shooting drones and those drones flying and splattering into debris that confuse the enemy, and then the enemy begin to target debris and not the real thing. So that is a clever way to carry out an asymmetric campaign. And I think, like you rightly mentioned, Russia has been very crucial in this. Because when Russia was running the Ukrainian campaign, a good number of the drones that Russia used against Ukraine were actually from Iran. So already they had this plan well carried out. Russia has its fingers on this. It's just that they're not making it obvious. Their support is at best indirect now. But I think as time goes on, if the mediation process does not
Yep.
yield,
I would even argue. I'd even argue you're breaking though. I would even argue that
yeah,
it is obvious because all military scientists know who makes these bombs. Just like Russia knows what America has, America knows what Russia has. America is American missiles are being used to attack Russians in the Ukrainian war. So America knows what's going on, but this is the way giving missiles to Iran. Iran is a Russia could also say, "Why were you giving missiles to me? That we're here to protect our allies." We all know that the Vietnam War was a proxy war between China, Russia against
the US.
America. So there's nothing no, not this is nothing new. This is the world we live in. The question America has to ask itself is what is the strategic value? And also America, what they did was they made their allies in UAE and all of them, um, they hurt their allies by taking the THAAD interceptors and all those interceptors and shipping them to Israel, leaving their own allies who helped them attack
Exposed. Yes.
defenseless. Okay. Now I
Exposed.
also want to add one more thing. Um, they're taking stuff from Ukraine too to feed this war, and they're taking stuff from yeah, they're taking missiles from Ukraine and redirecting it. So here's what America is doing: it's fighting a war against Ukraine. It's fighting a war against Iran. It's talking about fighting a war against China, but it doesn't have enough weaponry to fight even one of the wars. So now it's taking missiles from the Chinese theater and taking missiles from the Ukraine theater of war and bringing them to 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 uh, to fight Iran. So what it shows is that the military is depleted, and the U.S. military makes 6 to 7 interceptors a month. No, 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 no. They're losing hundreds a day now and they make 6 a month, which shows that. So what has been exposed is that the U.S. military industry is finished. The U.S. is not a military industrial power anymore. It has stockpiles of weapons which are being used up, and all of this goes to corruption because all of the trillion America is going to spend 1.9 trillion dollars on its military. It's obviously not going to weapons. It's going into the pockets of Hegseth. It's going into the pockets of the generals. It's going into the pockets of the companies that made rockets. It's not actually going into the production of weapons, which is why the U.S. cannot even dream about going to war with China or or Russia, not even to mention Iran, because it doesn't have enough industrial weaponry. And that's because, first of all, the U.S. is not an industrial country anymore. It doesn't produce things; it just prints money. And second of all, its military industry doesn't produce weapons. It charges for weapons which it doesn't supply, and they put it into the pockets of their corporate CEOs. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about this. And if you look at the way the thing is skewed too, I mean, eventually, what I feel is that the regime will survive, the US will back down, and the way it is, they will now make it, the way Donald Trump normally says it, that it's a victory for them. Because the way it is now, US is beginning, they are getting exhausted. It's like a boa constrictor strangulating a prey. They're getting exhausted. They're losing a lot of money from their weaponry, expensive weaponry, and it doesn't seem as if they're achieving anything as it is. And there's pressure from home for them to stop. I don't think US would actually go to the extent of bringing boots on the ground to carry this out, I feel at this
No,
stage
they
now,
bring boots on the ground.
that would
Let
be
me tell you, the
catastrophic.
the war
That would
the
be
war's already
catastrophic.
no, they'll lose tens of thousands of American soldiers because up in those
It's going to be
mountains
catastrophic.
in Iran.
I don't think he would
Oh,
even be
those
given
guys
the
will be
right
sitting
to
there.
do that.
Oh no, they would put him in an asylum. They put Trump in an asylum before they allow him
No, no, no.
to
They
do
won't
that.
allow
Okay,
him.
so let's switch over.
They won't